And there are always those, of course, who want to put gold down, who want to discourage people from protecting themselves financially. And why is that? Why would even a publication like the Financial Times want to do that? You'd think they try to help people. They're the Financial Times. Well, because the Financial Times, they're really owned by the big money powers, the big international bankers who actually want you in the fiat currencies. They hold a lot of gold. Yes, they manipulate the price of gold. But ultimately, when the dust settles and this current wild experiment ends, they're going to be holding a lot of gold, and a lot of people out there won't. Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, Maneko 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Well, we're going to look at a topic today that just popped into my head. And of course, it's related to what I've been looking at for almost 25 years, and that's hyperinflation, currency debasement, money printing. I've been reading a lot about the history of such things going back hundreds of years, sometimes millennia. But I'm starting to think that we are in the greatest monetary experiment and wildest adventure ever in recorded history since since humans have been recording monetary affairs on this planet. And I'm gonna show you why that is, and I'm gonna refer you to a couple of books that have helped me prepare for this. And I actually thought at the time that it could end up like this, and I think we could be near some really wild times. And is it any wonder that the world seems to be getting crazier and crazier, especially for those of us who have lived for a while, like me, who's been around the block. I'm 60, and if you go back 25, 30 years or even more, and you let's say if you could go back and tell people what was happening today in 2024, they would look at you and think you're crazy. And the reason for that, unfortunately, is because of this wild monetary experiment. Because the more crazy, or the crazier the monetary currency system gets, the crazier human behavior, social behavior, political behavior becomes, geopolitical as well. And one of the main reason for that is that half of all our commercial transactions are, the common denominator in those is money or currency. And if you debase that currency, if you trash that currency, if you conduct crazy experiments with that currency, well, it's only going to be reflected into the world, and it will make the world crazy. And the only plus side about this is that eventually, when this whole monetary experiment implodes on itself or collapses, we're going to be cleaning up the mess, but we're going to be in a more real world where people will care about the things that matter, not all the crazy stuff that's going on. And I don't have to point them out to you. I'm sure most of you are aware of all the sometimes comical, and sometimes it seems like a joke and unbelievable things that are going on. So before I proceed to tell you about this wild monetary experiment, and I'm going to show you some charts. Before I do that, just wanted to give a shout out to my precious metals dealer affiliates. And one of the reasons I do that, it wasn't the purpose of this channel to market gold and silver, but I've been speaking about it since late 2015, how gold and silver are, well, the only way in the liquid and monetary way to protect yourself against what's happening, against this wild experiment. And many of you through the years have asked me, where can I buy gold and silver? And I still tell people, do your homework. Search for the most reputable dealers. Yes, search for the best deal with the most reputable deal. But you can also contact my affiliates because I can vouch for them. Here in the UK, it's Gold Investments. I've been dealing with them since 2002 when I started looking into these things and started acquiring a little bit of gold and silver. And all their details are below in the description, and there's some promo codes there. You can call them on the phone, or you can just go online. You can go there personally to their offices in London and ask them any questions you want, and mention Maneko64 or Mario, and they'll help you. And the same thing goes for Miles Franklin in the US for my US viewers. All the details of how to get in touch with Miles Franklin is below in the description. And I haven't stopped stacking, even though the price of gold or the price of the pound or all fiat currencies are actually dropping massively, or gold is going up. I still buy gold and silver whenever I can. And some people might ask, well, don't you think it's overdone? Don't you think gold and silver prices are too high? Well, the way to look at it is insurance, monetary insurance. If the world was saner monetarily and fiscally, yes, maybe you don't need to keep stacking, and there are times when you might want to divest of some of your gold and silver to put it into other assets. But I think we are in unprecedented times, as I said, in the wildest monetary experiment that humans have ever seen, at least in recorded history. And so let's skip to that and why I think that is so. And I've been warning about this. I've been warning family, friends, colleagues, ever since actually 2001 and 2, when I started learning about gold, silver, the monetary system. And I don't know why it happened, why I got the interest, but I have to say the internet helped, of course, because it was a lot easier to find material, to read things. You didn't have to go to a library. And I started looking into the Austrian School of Economics through the Mises.org website. I started reading JS Mindset, which used to be the late Jim Sinclair's blog. I started reading LouRockwell.com, a very libertarian-leaning platform. And libertarians, as I found back then, and free market schools of economics like the Austrian school, they all espouse sound money, and it's something I hadn't heard of prior to 2001 and 2. I didn't really think much of what money really was, even though I worked in the financial sector. You just wanted to make money and do well. You didn't think about the underlying nature of money. And that's when I started looking into it, 01, 02. And we just had the dot-com bubble burst. I had a private pension. It was fairly big at the time. It was getting fairly big. It got a big haircut. And my wife and I decided to do something different. And for some reason, we thought, let's buy some gold, some real gold. And how did I find out a place in London to buy gold? Well, luckily the internet was around, and I searched, and I found actually a jeweler in the city of London, John Haynes and Company Limited, jewelers and silversmiths, who used to deal in gold. They used to have very good prices for sovereigns and other coins. And it was only a few months later that I learned about gold investments, and I started buying from them as well. So just to show you here, I'm not making this up. So there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, you can say that. But here's the invoice for my first purchase of gold, and it was Krugerrands. And don't worry, I have swapped those Krugerrands over to sovereigns. So the capital gains tax liability is not there anymore. I swapped it. I arranged a non-cash deal to swap the Krugerrands for sovereigns. But as you can see here, 25th of June 2002, 225 pounds and 45 pence. So here you go. You can see my name there. Yes, 22 Krugerrands. And as we speak here, as I speak to you, and I said yesterday the price of gold in pounds reached an all-time high, and that price, it closed at 2,167. So we're very close to a 10x from June 25th. Did I expect back then when I started buying gold that would happen? Well, intellectually and historically, yes, I thought one day everything would collapse and we'd get hyperinflation, but it hasn't been smooth sailing along the way because circumstances vary, personal and financial circumstances vary. A lot goes on in your life, a lot goes on in your job and in your finances. And of course, the price of gold doesn't go up in a straight line. And there are always those, of course, who want to put gold down, who want to discourage people from protecting themselves financially. And why is that? Why would even a publication like the Financial Times want to do that? You'd think they try to help people. They're the Financial Times. Well, because the Financial Times, they're really owned by the big money powers, the big international bankers who actually want you in the fiat currencies. They hold a lot of gold. Yes, they manipulate the price of gold. But ultimately, when the dust settles and this current wild experiment ends, they're going to be holding a lot of gold, and a lot of people out there won't. And I can picture some of the people that won't, because I've been asked over the years, should I buy gold? You know, I have this bond that's maturing. I have this ISA, and I've always told people, yes, buy some gold. You don't have to put everything into gold, even though I think you should almost put almost everything. Of course, you need some fiat currency reserves. Yeah, those people, when I said that, they said, well, but gold is too risky. It's a commodity. It's too volatile. And it's probably because they've been reading stuff like this. And this was, and as I said, yeah, I did buy gold in 2002. And people should say, well, you just, it's been easy for you. It's just gone up. But it hasn't, because it's also a psychological warfare. in the markets. And this was a big one here. This was an editorial in the FT. This was at the time that you didn't really have a smartphone and read everything in an app. I still used to buy the newspaper in the morning when I was going to work by train into the city of London. And I used to turn to the editorial page a lot of times, the first thing I would do. And this came out, this was April 16th, 2004. Price of gold, as you can see here, I wrote it, $400.65. I cut it out, and I had this laminated in my office at MF Global, or Men Financial, as it was at the time, because I thought I need to hold on to this, because I thought it was outrageous what they were saying here. But yeah, it was my first encounter with fake news. In this instance, is fake financial news from the FT, and it says, "Going gold. The pointlessness of holding bullion continues to sink in." Well, I'm going to put a copy of this here right now, and you can pause the video, you can do a screenshot and read it, but have a look at it. It's quite amazing. I'll just say the last paragraph here from the editorial. It says, "Whatever the speed, the direction is clear. Gold is on its way out as an investment and a reserve asset." 3 cheers for that. There you go. But my point here is that, can you imagine how many people got put off buying gold because of this editorial? Yeah, quite a few. It didn't put me off though. Anyway, I'm gonna refer you to 2 books as well that made me realize that we were in a wild monetary experiment. And how did I realize that? Well, I have to thank people like James Turk, Jim Sinclair back in the day for warning people, for recommending the books. One of them is Fiat Money Inflation in France, How It Came, What It Brought, and How It Ended, Andrew Dixon White. You can find a free PDF online, or you can buy this from the Mises.org Institute. You can buy it from Amazon, but Mises.org Institute is an institute of learning for the Austrian School of Economics. So I always try to give a shout out to them, because I have, I'm thankful to them for helping me see this. So yeah, why is this book so important? Well, because it showed me that an experiment with money printing, or QE, always ends in tears, because it's like going on drugs. You take the first dose, and then the effect comes off, and then you need more, and then you say, I won't do it again, and you just keep going and going. It's the same thing with money printing and inflation. And it's interesting that many people, especially the central bankers, and even people who are clever and they're economists, and even people in the alternative, they say that QE is deflationary. And the only reason they do that is because they want you to keep playing the fiat currency game. They want to keep telling you that prices are going to go down. It's deflationary. And maybe in a sense they mean that it's deflationary, that the economy slows down, but that's the wrong term, really, because inflation and deflation are monetary phenomena. And yes, we've been told that Japan has seen deflation for 4 decades almost now. But I'm going to show you some charts of the price of gold in yen, and also in other currencies, that will show you that this thing about QE and money printing being deflationary is just a ruse. Yes, there will be one day when the currencies collapse that we will see, yeah, a destruction through hyperinflation. It could be a destruction through deflation, but the more I look at things, the more I see things, I think we're going the way of hyperinflation, which anyway eliminates or destroys all the money and the debt, just like a deflationary collapse would. So yes, this book made me realize that once you get into the path of money printing and inflation, there's no way out. And then the second book is this one here, When Money Dies, by Adam Ferguson. Yeah, Adam Ferguson. And this book here is very similar to the first one. It's just that it's at a different period of time. The first one is post-French Revolution. And this one is just post-World War I in Germany and Central Europe. But the great thing about this book, it talks about the hyperinflation, the Weimar hyperinflation. But the other thing that I've been studying and keeping an eye out for is for all the symptoms of societal collapse, political collapse, yes, economic collapse that happens when you fool around, when you mess around with the money through money printing and QE. And I've been ticking the boxes of all these symptoms, and I've done videos about it. I'm going to put it up in the cards. You might want to watch it. But there was a symptom that was really important, I thought, in this book, and that was political mayhem, assassinations in Germany. That was all happening. And Lord and behold, we've gotten that, haven't we? And just all the crazy things that have been going on and are still going on make me believe that we are on the road to hyperinflation. So now I want to show you a chart that I think is like the granddaddy of all the hyperinflation charts. And it illustrates to you this wild monetary experiment that I've talked about in this video. And this is the price of gold in Japanese yen. And the Japanese yen and the Japanese economy are supposed to be in a deflation. Yes, it might be a slow economy, but technically it's not a deflation. And why is that? Well, because you can see here that the Bank of Japan started money printing in March of 2001. And it was actually March 19th, 2001. And I checked the exact price of gold in yen. It was 32,000 yen. And they're still doing QE as I speak here, the Bank of Japan. So they haven't been able to stop, right? The drug addict is still taking the drugs in Japan, the monetary drug addict. So I say here, yen has shrunk from 1/32,000th of an ounce of a troy ounce of gold to 1/420,000th of a troy ounce of gold. So gold has gone up 13.125 times versus the yen. What does that mean? Well, it means that the yen buys a lot less, and when your currency buys a lot less, prices, it's reflected in the price. And I can bet if I ask one of you guys who watch from Japan, who've been around for a long time, who knew what prices were back in the beginning of the century, back in 2001, I'm sure you'd confirm that a lot of the prices of the basic necessities of life, the really important things, have gone up massively, and it's much harder, the cost of living. Japanese yen has been totally debased, and it's not over yet. And I've been warning about this because I could see it coming with indications from central bankers like Bernanke, who made this speech that I remember really well back in November 2002, deflation, that old deflation ruse, making sure it doesn't happen here. And people listening to that, they were thinking, they still think, why should I buy gold if there's going to be deflation, right? But we've had anything but deflation, and that's why I warned people. I was warning people already in 2006 of this fact that currencies were going to continue to sink. Here's a part 2 of an article that I wrote. It says currencies, they're all sinking, part 2. I'm going to put a link to this below in the description. You can read it. So there you go. I'm just going to show another 3 charts, excuse me. Well, the first one is the chart of gold in US dollars. And this is more short term, of course. This just goes to show you here the correction we've had and how we've come right back up this week. We're now going to look at the price of gold in British pounds, because I said it reached an all-time high. And here you go. Price of gold in British pounds. Debasement means the pound in your pocket doesn't buy as much. And you can see here when QE started in the West. It shows here that the Fed started QE in November 2008, and the Bank of England started it in March 2009. And yeah, gold has been one-way street. Yes, there was a bit of consolidation and correction after 2011, but nothing's changed. And the yen in Japan, they're leading the way. So knowing what has been happening in Japan should help you realize that the same thing is going to be happening here in the UK, the US, and also in Europe, or the Eurozone, which is really the countries that in the European Union that use the euro. So ECB started QE in May 2009, and it's been the same result. So when people talk about the dollar being strong or the euro being strong, does it really matter? I don't think so. So there you go. Yes, I've rambled on a bit longer than usual, but it is the weekend. Maybe you have a little more time to watch me and listen to me. And with that, I wanted to thank all of you actually for your interest in my channel and what I have to say. And I'd like to wish you also a very good weekend. And yes, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.